Going Through the Fires of Life with Jesus by Pastor Robert McKim. Chapter 22. How People React to News in the Newspaper, on TV, and on the Internet. I have noticed lately that people would rather believe anything you put out there on the Internet than God's honest truth. There have been some big developments happening in our world and in our own area of Ohio, where I live, that many doomsday theorists think that an area of land in a state route road near Dover, Ohio, had slipped into a sand and gravel pits pond, forming what reporters are calling a sinkhole. I wish that reporters would investigate before they go to print with a story that would get things stirred up. As an investigator myself, I went to the area when the state and federal investigators were there. I talked to them about what is going on the Internet, and they laugh at what I said, and the federal mine investigator told me that it is not a sinkhole, that it is more of a slip caused by some underlined water getting under the ground. Nothing more and nothing less. There is a Dr. Paul Doss of the University of Southern Indiana who was on WFIE that stated that this is not a sinkhole and that this is any other sinkholes are not a sign of a major earthquake along the New Madrid Fault. Road collapse closes Route 516 west of Dover by Joe Miser and Lee Morrison. TimesReporter.com staff writers. Posted November 28, 2012 at 3:33 p.m. Last update November 28, 2012 at 10:17 p.m. Dover. A section of land the length of 4 football fields collapsed Wednesday afternoon, leaving a gaping hole, estimated at 20 to 30 feet deep, that extended into the westbound driving lane of Route 516 west of Dover. Route 516 in Dover Township is expected to remain closed to traffic indefinitely, according to the Ohio Department of Transportation. The collapse also caused nearby Bear Road to be closed to traffic at Route 516, although Bear Road remains accessible from Schneider's Crossing Road. No one was injured, and there was no damage to any vehicles. "We're very fortunate it didn't happen in the middle of the night," said Lieutenant Eric Escala, commander of the New Philadelphia Post of the Ohio Highway Patrol, as he looked over the scene. Escala said any motorists coming upon the collapsed portion of the highway wouldn't have seen it until the last second, and they could have fallen in there and could have easily caused fatal injuries. Even during daytime, had it not been discovered as quickly as it was, Escala said a school bus full of kids could have been traveling over it when it collapsed, and we could have had a horrible tragedy here. Escala added everyone is fortunate that it happened when it did, and there was no traffic in the immediate area at the time. Firefighter Joe Minoki, who was with the first fire crew responding, said water that entered the hole Wednesday apparently has been washing this out underneath here for some time. Firefighters were alerted by the 911 Emergency Dispatch Center just before 3 p.m. that employees of Newton Asphalt Company, which owns the land, reported they had a major cave-in on the property and were seeking assistance in blocking the road and assessing the situation. Minoki said Newton personnel were out and had stopped any approaching traffic. When firefighters arrived, the employees had the roads blocked at Route 516 and Bear Road and were turning traffic around. At the time, blacktop on the westbound lane was suspended over the caved-in area, but a crack indicated that it wouldn't hold much longer. At 3:35 p.m., a section of blacktop splashed into the water below. The collapse left about 70 to 80 feet of a 4-inch natural gas line exposed and hanging, as it formerly was buried in the right-of-way. It also exposed a buried communications line. Minoki said that firefighters saw several smaller cave-ins during their time at the scene, as the hole spread north and east. Fire Captain Mike Mosser estimated the affected area would cover 4 football fields and said it extended to within 45 feet of Bear Road. In addition to firefighters, state troopers, and ODOT personnel, Mosser said an Ohio Department of Natural Resources geologist was at the scene to assist in determining the cause of the collapse. Monster sinkholes, an indication that major earth changes are coming along the New Madrid Fault? By Michael, on December 2nd, 2012. The most powerful earthquakes in the history of the United States happened along the New Madrid Fault in 1811 and 1812. Those earthquakes were reportedly felt more than 1,000 miles away. Scientists assure us that one day we will once again see the very powerful earthquakes along the New Madrid Fault. It is only a question of when it will happen. Today, the New Madrid Fault Zone covers portions of Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Mississippi. However, a major earthquake of magnitude 8.0 or greater would likely have a dramatic effect all the way from the Great Lakes, all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. When most Americans speak of the big one, they think of what may happen along the coast of California someday. But the truth is that the New Madrid earthquake could potentially do far more damage. So is there evidence that the New Madrid Fault Zone is waking up? Yes, there is. According to Bloomberg, there has been a 6-fold increase in the number of earthquakes that have shaken the central part of the U.S. from 2000 to 2011. Much of that increase is being blamed on human activity such as mining, drilling, and fracking. So could human activity aggravate the fault zone so much that it could set off a truly history-making earthquake at some point? Well, the potential is certainly there. That is why so many people are so concerned about the monster sinkholes that have appeared in the region in recent months. For example, a massive sinkhole down in Louisiana is now over 8 acres in size, and it has forced hundreds of people to flee from their homes. You can see a video of the Louisiana sinkhole right here. Over in Ohio, a giant sinkhole has suddenly formed that is more than 30 feet deep, and that is the size of 4 football fields. That sinkhole caused part of State Route 516 to collapse, and authorities say that it will likely be closed for many months. You can see video of the gigantic sinkhole in Ohio right here. Are these monster sinkholes an indication that major earth changes are coming along the New Madrid Fault? Has reckless human activity awoken a sleeping giant that we should never have messed with? The sinkhole down in Louisiana is of particular concern because it has been venting natural gas. A few days ago, it reportedly burped, which sounds kind of ominous. Could we see some kind of an explosion at some point? Many of those living in the area may not be able to return to their homes for quite a long time. This is something that I have written about previously, and we all need to keep our eyes open for more reports about earthquakes in the middle part of the country. When the big one does finally hit the New Madrid Fault Zone, it will be one of the biggest news stories ever. We are talking about a catastrophe that will be so immense that it will be hard to imagine. According to ABC News, a study by the Mid-America Earthquake Center found that in the event of a major earthquake along the New Madrid Fault, nearly 750,000 buildings would be damaged, 3,000 bridges would potentially collapse, 400,000 breaks and leaks to local pipelines, and $300 billion in direct damage and $600 billion in direct losses would occur. You can read much more about the New Madrid Fault right here. All of this is even more frightening when you consider that there are 15 nuclear reactors along the New Madrid Fault Zone. In the event that the big one strikes, we could be looking at Fukushima times 15. We have been blessed to have avoided a major earthquake like that for so long in the middle part of the country, but there is no guarantee that the New Madrid fault zone will always be stable, especially considering how much it is being aggravated by man-made activity. There are even some that believe that eventually we will see an earthquake of magnitude 9.0 or higher along the New Madrid fault. Such an earthquake could literally change the face of the entire continent. We are talking about an event that could potentially change the course of the Mississippi River and create bodies of water where none existed previously. We seem to be moving into a time of increased seismic activity on Earth, and many scientists are convinced that the New Madrid fault zone is definitely overdue for a major earthquake. So will we see one in the coming years? Radchick Radiation Research and Mitigation. Massive sinkhole still growing. Ohio. 4 football fields long, 30 feet deep, shuts down 8-mile stretch of road. Wednesday, November 28, 2012. 1706. Like I said, many people would rather believe anything, even if there is no sound evidence to back it up. Granted, there might be earthquakes like the Bible say, and Jesus said will happen in the end times. But when that happens, the only thing will happen to the ground is that it will either go up and down or side to side, or cause a separation of the land, not a sinkhole. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. Matthew 24:7. Notice there is no mention of sinkholes in what Jesus said. So what is a true sinkhole? A sinkhole, also known as a sink, snake hole, swallow hole, swallet, dewline, or cenote, is a natural depression or hole in the Earth's surface caused by karst processes. For example, the chemical dissolution of carbonate rocks or Suffusion processes in sandstone. Sinkholes may vary in size from 1 to 600 meters, both in diameter and depth, and vary in form from soil-lined bowls to bedrock-edge chasms. Sinkholes may be formed gradually or suddenly, and are found worldwide. The different terms for sinkholes are often used interchangeably. Tourists, locals, seek to catch a glimpse of rare phenomenon. By Megan Milia. TimesReporter.com staff writer. Posted December 5, 2012 at 11:51 p.m. Dover. Thanks to the sudden sinkhole that appeared near Newton Asphalt last week, Dover Township has been receiving a steady stream of visitors looking to catch a glimpse of this rare phenomenon. And with the visitors have come a slew of theories as to why the ground collapsed near the sand and gravel pit. November 28th. Making international news and rated among the top 5 of Yahoo.com's trending topics recently, locals as well as people from surrounding areas have ventured forward with questions and theories about how a large portion of State Route 516 between Bear Road and Josephine Street would suddenly fall away. I heard sinkholes supposedly predicted earthquakes, said Barry Scholes, a retired social worker from Strasbourg. After following it on various news outlets, Scholes wanted to see it for himself Wednesday. The head of an amateur photo club, Scholes also wanted to capture his own unique picture of the sinkhole that has made world news. He was hoping his 6.5mm fisheye lens would catch something regular cameras wouldn't. While the ground collapse has been coined a sinkhole, Ohio Department of Transportation, District 11, Deputy Director Lloyd McAdam explained the collapse occurred when Newton Asphalt employees got too close to the edge of the company's pond while dredging sand and gravel. While he doesn't give the rumors much credit, Scholes wasn't the only one to hear rumors about earthquakes. I heard there were multiple sinkholes along a quake line, and there'd be a possible earthquake now, said Spencer Miller, a Louisville woman visiting family in Bolivar. Miller wanted the opportunity to see what everyone was talking about, and checked into a few theories her mother mentioned. She said her mom was interested in studying the Bible and the Book of Revelations, and her mother claims she knew about the sinkhole even before the media. She found it on a prophetic website she goes to, Miller said. I don't necessarily think it's the end of the world, but things do happen, she said. I really don't know. I just think it's crazy. Others who visited didn't offer theories, just curiosity. We wanted to see how big it is and how much of the road it took out. It looks like it took out a pretty big chunk, said Marilyn Salame, a Dover resident, who viewed the sinkhole Wednesday with her brother, Bill Shriver, and his friend Edith Lake. It was a little bit shocking, Shriver said. The ground just drops away. A group of civil engineers from W.E. Quicksall and Associates stopped by on their lunch break. Literally, we're only interested members of the public and just curious to see it, explained Zach Deems. Acknowledging his background made him and his colleagues especially interested in checking out the spot. We do a lot of work with ODOT on roadways and bridges, and we deal with foundation issues and soils. His coworker Paul Logan agreed. It made national news, and it's right in our backyard. While State Route 516 between Bear Road and Josephine Street has been closed, due to the large portion of the road that caved in, people have managed to park on side streets and get out of their cars to see the sinkhole. I know this has gotten a lot of media attention. I'm not surprised this has brought more traffic from curiosity seekers, said Ohio State Highway Patrol spokesman Lieutenant Eric Escala. Escala said he's hoping they'll stay away, though. We don't know how stable the area is, he said. I strongly urge people to avoid the area if at all possible. I hate to be the Grinch, but it's for people's own safety. So far, no traffic-related issues or other incidents have occurred near the site, Escala said. And he isn't sure when the excitement will die down, adding, Many of us have never seen something like this before.